Hello, Internet listeners. Or should I say, what good would wings be if you couldn't feel the wind on your face? Welcome to the Caged Men podcast. My name is Cody Bridges, and I am in a prison of my own making. I am on a quest to watch every movie that Nicolas Cage has ever acted in. But I am not alone. I am being joined today by a new cellmate. Cameron, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Cameron Petti, longtime friend, first-time contributor. Happy to be here.
Yes, me and Cameron have known each other since college. We were both in the comic book club at the university that we went to, so we go way back on nerd shit.
President and vice president, so that we have the credentials to sit and talk about movies for 2 hours.
especially about this movie that is so not comic booky, if we're being totally honest.
No, but it's its own vibe. I think it's got the melodrama of a comic book. I honestly would not have. No, it wouldn't have compared it to a comic book until just this moment, but it absolutely has that same. Like I'm imagining like Garth Ennis art because it has to be like early 2000s. Yeah, the like moody,
the indie Renaissance era of comics is sort of where this falls. Like the Brian Lee O'Malley, maybe not his style, but his era of comics. We are, of course, talking about the 1998 movie City of Angels. We are on the upswing. Last episode, we were on the way downswing with Drive Angry. We are technically watching a better Nic Cage movie today. City of Angels is the 1998 movie starring Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan. It is a romantic drama. This is a weird Nic Cage entry, sort of in general. I feel like that's an easy thing to say about this.
It is not the traditional Nic Cageism, I suppose. I mean, yeah, you are starting to get a better sense than I exactly what is an iconic Nic Cage performance. But I think there is that like side that wants to be the lead. This is a very leading man. He does the dramas. He does the heartfelt movies from time to time in a way that this is on the grounded side of things, in that kind of way he can be grounded if he chooses to be kind of way.
It's got a big sort of buy-in from the fantastical side of things. This is a movie that asks you to believe in a fantastical element first, but then the rest of the movie is not really about the fantasy of it all. It's about love and romance. It's like it's sort of a light fantasy, which is fascinating. We'll see if it lives up to that. I will say my very first note on this movie, we open on a scene where we're seeing all these angels all over, is what we find out they are.
Yeah. To continue to officially not bury the lead any longer. This movie's about angels. Nic Cage is an angel.
This is a double entendre.
Los
Angeles.
Angeles.
Place in Los Angeles, the city of angels, and the angels are in fact literal. Nic Cage plays an angel. He plays an angel in the the first thought that popped in my head was in the way you dress an angel in the movie Dogma, the long coat, and sort of like sort of a gothy looking angel.
Very very Dogma-esque, very in that same visual, in that way that you were saying is like light fantasy that at no times, despite the quote that you started this episode with, there are no wings, there's no
wings, no flying,
no voices of God, no flying. There is a little bit of angels are different creatures than us, as the movie demonstrates, and is kind of the crux of the drama of the movie. But it is not a high fantasy. It is a modern envisioning of what angels are, for sure.
Yes. The first note in my notebook from the beginning of the plot is this going to be sad? Because it opens with
no, not. I mean, hey, what makes you think that?
There's a sick little girl.
Yeah.
And Nic Cage is watching over her while the mom is all fretting, and she winds up going to the hospital. And I'm like, is Nic Cage a guardian angel? Or is he? And then like in that moment is when the next note in my book is, oh yes, the little girl does not make it, and Nic Cage is like ushering her into the afterlife. This is like, we're at like minute 3.
Movie starts with child death. Yes.
Right out the gate, which is an odd, I mean, honestly, maybe not that weird for like what the movie's trying to set up in the grand scheme of things, but a little uncomfortable. I mean, especially coming off of the last 5 Nic Cage movies I've watched.
Oh yeah. How many of those 5 start with child death?
Hold on.
Yeah. Check the notes.
No. 1.
Oh yeah.
Astro Boy did feature child death as well.
There you go. All right. So you're saying there's a trend.
The titular
that may need
boy.
To be a thing to track throughout.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. A trend, perhaps. If there's 3 of his movies that have child death, and then that's officially a trend. It's a motif.
That is true. And you know what? We are getting ahead of ourselves even.
Yes.
We're going to talk about this sad movie. I need to first log you in my system here. This is a scientific podcast. I'm using my most of a degree that I did not finish of psychology to track my own mental state by talking with other people about how they feel about Nicolas Cage movies. We will see how I come out on the other end of this, but first I need to ask you some important questions. So I have a little survey.
Yes.
These are about Nic Cage. We are going to use the traditional psychological scale of 1 to 7. So
1 to 7.
I'm going to give you some statements, and I want you to say either I agree with this statement 100%, which is a 7. I disagree with this statement 100% is a 1. And then you have your shades of gray in the middle if you feel a particular way. So let's start with question 1 here. So this first statement, just give me your read on it. Nic Cage is an actor I like.
I had some previewing of these questions by listening to your episode about guarding Tess. I did not, however, sit back and pre-decide. I didn't spend any time thinking about these.
It's better to give me a gut reaction anyway.
So this is just
how you
this
really
is
feel.
Straight down the barrel. I think he is on the more positive side of the middle here. I don't know if he's a good actor. I think he's a so I'm gonna say 5.
5, sure.
I think he has talent. A good actor, I don't know.
Well, but an actor you like doesn't have to mean a good actor.
An actor I have enjoyed.
Yeah, good. So statement 2. Nic Cage makes mostly good movies.
That, I am stymied. I'm hampered by the fact that I have admittedly not watched a crazy ton of Nic Cage movies. Despite the vast library of options, there's only been a handful. I have watched the first, the Ghost Rider movie, the first one. Ghost Rider, you can have me back for that one. But of the ones that I have watched, I think they are generally good movies. Again, I'm going to do a 6. I feel nervous about doing full-throated 1s and 7s. So I'm a coward.
No,
so I'm going to say 6.
always better to leave some wiggle room. And then this last question, which if I have you back, if we decide to do this again, if you want to do it again, this is the one we'll revisit every time. And that is, in light of this movie, I want to watch more Nic Cage movies. This movie specifically makes you feel.
I will. You know what? I will. I'll make an exception and say I will say 7 on this. I do. It has reminded me of his whole deal, of the juice he's got, and I'm curious. I want to really what it is I want to check out the ones that like are unequivocally good. They're your Raising Arizonas, your Moonstruck, etc., etc. Those are the ones that that I do want to check out. I don't think I am inspired to do a watch for each episode of your podcast
to follow me on this. That's totally.
I'm not sure if I'm going to quite stay in the cage as long as you will, but I do want to. This is kind of So I'm going to say definitely
7. I mean, that's great. That's good. I mean, the whole concept of this has definitely enlightened me to all there is to Nic Cage. And this movie is no exception. It is not. It sits pretty still. We're still pretty close to our median Cage movie.
You're getting shades of Cage.
Right. We're starting to, and I mean, as I've said this in other episodes, and I will say it again, no problem. We are climbing slower up than we are falling on the downswing episodes. The downswing episodes have been crazy. Like the middle movie was like, that was about the middle movie I can think of. And every movie after that has fallen so far, so fast in comparison. The climb has been a little slower.
Okay.
I feel. So
you're kind of slower warming to Mr. Cage.
I mean, and I don't know if that's me and maybe it'll be different. Maybe later I'll start to appreciate the technically quote unquote worse Nic Cage movies in general. Maybe I'll have a better appreciation for all there is to hear by that point. But as of right now, it feels like, even though we are every episode either lower or higher, the lows have been lower and the highs have been still pretty medium in terms of actual movie quality.
Which I think is not unfair on this for this one. For City of Angels, I think I do agree with you that this is better. I enjoyed the movie. I don't know if this is, this is not an 11 or a 7 on your scale, rather. One, if 3.5 is the middle of your scale. This isn't a 7. This is firmly above 3.5, but I don't know.
Yeah, it got a fair rating from me, I think. And it was a type of acting. This is the first time in the whole podcast that I've gotten acting out of Nic Cage that I felt like was both effortful but also not bananas. So a lot of the movies he's done have been, I talked about in Guarding Tess, I think, where it's like there's really no such thing as subtle Nic Cage, but actually
there's a little bit of subtlety here.
This is him displaying. He is not Con Air, where he's a lunatic, or same in Dog Eat Dog is a movie where he's boring. He doesn't know what he's doing.
That dog don't eat dogs.
A little. No, he's got this kind of. And all of the angels, his main angel friend, who we meet after he helps this little girl ascend. His main angel friend is Andre Braugher,
the indomitable. What's the amazing Andre Braugher? He's great.
The distinguished and of course, rest in peace, Andre Braugher.
What a reminder of how freaking awesome he is.
He's great in this. This is right up his like alley in terms of stuff. So he gets together with all these angels and they all sort of play this kind of like disaffected, sort of distant, sort
Yes.
of and in a very like, they aren't human. Sort of, and I mean it's a performance you'd see out of other people if they were playing like an alien, or if they were
I was
playing
gonna
like,
say. You
yeah, they
reskin
don't
this
have a
movie,
connection.
and it
Mhm.
is aliens trying to figure out humans as well. That's that kind of detachment. You can, yeah, it's absolutely that same category of interaction and observation, bemused observations of people,
Yeah.
but still
They
kind
they
of
have
not.
little books,
Yeah,
or yeah,
or
they're keeping track of.
Nic Cage does. I don't know if Andre has his little journal of
That might
things that amuse
that
him.
might be a unique to his. Nick Cage plays an angel named Seth.
Gotta love
Uh,
Seth. What a funny,
Seth.
weird choice. Do we
Uh,
hear
uh,
Andre's name?
he is Cassiel, so he's got an angel name.
Yeah, that's an angel ass name. And
Um,
Seth. Gotta love stories that have Cassiel and
man,
Astraniol and
it's
uh,
very
Seth.
it's very Dune. It's very Dune. You've got all your characters with the Baron Harkonnen, and then there's Duncan.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, even Duncan, Idaho is a stylized name compared to
Oh
Paul.
yeah, Paul.
Paul's my favorite sci-fi hero. Paul. I
So
do want to say
I,
before as we slowly
yes,
as
yes.
our barge pushes through the waters of this movie, I didn't want to didn't want to miss a compliment because I will say that opening scene, while a big swing with the fact that a kid dies, I was really impressed by, like, it sets up the premise pretty quickly. If you kind of go in understanding,
Mhm.
oh, something angels, like if you kind of are primed to get that, like, oh, Nick Cage plays an angel, the first like 30 seconds of it, because it is him like sitting in the same room as the mother. The mother is worried about the child, and actually the first voice we hear is a VO of her internal monologue. So we
Yes.
hear her internal monologue as she's worried about her kid, and Nick Cage is there, and I'm impressed by the movie's ability to establish him as this like figure, observing figure. The premise of this movie's version of angels is established like first shot,
Fast.
and
Easy
I
to
was
get.
impressed by that. And that's
Yeah,
so
it
this
did
whole
not
kind of
feel.
opening monologue or opening
Yeah, and
montage rather.
we immediately set up, okay, we're hearing other people's thoughts through the fact that the angels can hear them. You immediately set up sort of what they do and where they exist uh in the world. We get a little sense of like their, not to get again too comic booky, their quote unquote powers, because Nick Cage can kind of flit instantly from place to place. And also you get a little setup of, by when he goes back to talk to Andre Brower, he's talking about how he always asks when he takes people away what their favorite thing was about being
Yeah,
alive.
and the kid says
And
pajamas, which is an
yeah,
adorable.
it's
Uh,
cute.
it's good line.
Um,
And
but
then they
it
do a
sets up right away
montage. Yeah, that's kind of that traditional opening movie credits montage,
mm,
and a
with a cool
further.
effect of all they set up like all over LA, which they do a lot of helicopter dollies in this,
Mhm.
of these angels all over, like standing on top of buildings and in windows and stuff. And it's like, you know, you love to see a movie that hired 100 extras. It's awesome.
Yeah, they
Miss
don't make movies
those.
that way anymore.
Um,
But yeah,
but
they're all like
yes, we get,
flocks of birds, like kind of hanging out, observe, just kind of watching things, and it's cool.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
I was kind of impressed by this gesture of this world building. Was like, it's pretty clear storytelling. I dug it.
For a high concept idea, not high concept, I think by today's standards. We live in a version of the
Hmm.
world where Everything Everywhere All at Once won an Oscar. So high concept is a little more, I think, palatable in mainstream movies nowadays. But
Hmm.
you're talking about 1998. We got a
Yeah,
little juice on this. It's a little quirky
it's
and weird.
starts pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get through that. They have a little convo in on between him and Andre Brower, and then we sort of fly off to our second principal cast member character here.
The cool Meg Ryan. And we know she's cool
yes,
because she's a biker and she bikes around through the traffic with cool sunglasses and cool gloves.
She's got a bike of like she is like the like, oh, I don't own a car, I have a bike. Like that's the kind of look she's going. And she's a surgeon. She rolls up and she's like, oh, she's like a kick-ass surgeon. She gets in scrubbed up and she's gonna do this surgery, and she gets started and is starting to cut, and she goes, Jimmy. And then a guy who, as far as I can tell, his whole job in the entire operating room is to operate the stereo, presses a play button, and Jimi Hendrix comes on.
Yeah, it's the first indication that this movie was indeed made in the 90s. It's a real clear timestamp of big clunky stereo system like a cut into like the reel to reel cassette player nature of this stereo to be like, yeah, this is a cool.
This is like the height of Meg Ryan's sort of romantic film dominance in the 90s. She had a run in a way that Nic Cage, this is sort of an exception to his crazy run of action movies over like these 4 years. Like this is a thing he did instead of an action movie. She had tons of romantic, both dramas and comedies in the late 90s where she was everywhere. And so this is sort of her in her element in this movie. We've got the tropes sort of down again in a way that's sort of an interesting concept because it's uneven. She's sort of a rom-com or rom-dram trope of like the very busy sort of career woman. Yeah. And then her foil is not a rom-com trope, is Nic Cage the angel, which is nuts. It's sort of, we're already on like the back foot a little bit with the concept here.
It is kind of funny though, because as I'm thinking about it again, like as much she isn't positioned as like there's a lot of like cool shots, especially in her entrance, where she's kind of not like the others with the bike and all that and the fingers gloves. But she then doesn't like breeze in. She doesn't Doctor Strange it, which is to say that like she's an arrogant surgeon who needs to be brought down a peg by tragedy. Like there's no real like, oh wow, her Meg Ryan, she's a like an up and coming surgeon. She's she has a streak of 15 surgeries in a row, flawless. Oh wow, and she like doesn't like. There's no like scenes of her, especially because getting
showy.
Later in the movie. There's there's a lot of like. Are you asking me to believe in God? I'm a woman of science. Like detail, like elements when she is interacting with Nic Cage, the angel. But here in the beginning, it is kind of interesting that she is like any of these kind of. There's a lot of there's the traditional like setup of he's at 1, she's at 7. They need to find a way to 3.5, whatever. Where she's high. That's the recipe for a Hallmark movie. But like a lot of especially rom-com, it's like, oh, there's opposites attract, and she is weirdly enough not like he's fairly weird and alien, but she is not like super duper piece of shit surgeon who needs to be taken down a peg.
She doesn't need an awakening, really.
Yeah.
Like, right. And also like even in like rom-com terms where it's like she's not a 7 in that way. She's not like way off the end where she needs to be like compromised with her foil. She's like a 5. She's definitely like a scientist where she's like, oh, I'm not in on this. But also Nic Cage is not a 1. He's like a Q. He's not on like he's not even people. He's
sure, yeah.
So her surgery, spoilers for I've never said this in one of the episodes before. Spoilers for all these movies. See the movie before if you really want to, but it's,
Yeah.
we talk about
Heads
the whole
up.
thing.
We're continue to go as we have been for the last 20 minutes, going scene by scene in this movie. So
yeah, we are going to cover the film. So her first surgery, this surgery does not go well, and the person passes away, and she takes it pretty hard.
But this is another one of those, like, I feel like, and this is continuing my kind of observation, a little bit of a criticism of this movie, is that similarly to her not being like high, like a 7 that needs to be brought down, there's also like these dramatic shots, these moments of drama. This movie is not like a lot of interesting shots in this movie. There's a couple of them. There's a couple sprinkled through, but I was thinking about this as a, like, like Grey's Anatomy and a lot of the other medical dramas, that there are like precedent of like, oh no, when he's coding, let's kind of change things up. When things are when things are good, we're kind of filming it this way. And then when things are drama, there's a lot of hard cuts and fast, the pace picks up. There's kind of not a lot of that in this movie. The like dramatic, oh no, her patient is dying unexpectedly. We've kind of had a couple of moments of levity here at the end of the surgery, but oh no, he's flatlining. That is not really like filmed with a lot of urgency in a way that's kind of, it's not a humongous, it's not disqualifying, but it is this, like, it is kind of keeps these emotions of the movie, of like the way it's filmed, at kind of a 5.5 instead of a 7.
Yeah. I think that there's something to be said of, and another note to all this, while all this is happening, Nic Cage is there.
Oh yeah, he's hanging out.
Yeah. He's like present for this whole thing, and so
next assignment is to watch over the guy on the slab.
Yeah, so we have a little bit, maybe it could be said, like a little heads up that like this is not going to be dramatic, because we kind of know already, if he's there, that it's not going to turn out the way it's supposed to. But I do agree that like they save a lot of their juice in like interesting filmic stuff for non-action-y things.
Yeah,
like they're more interested in heightening and amping up the romantic moments later in the movie, which does make this whole thing feel a little weird. Like it does make it feel like this is not a big deal, because it's just kind of part of the setup, which is not,
well, because this is so
weird when you're watching it.
Well, it's such like a critical scene, because it is like the inciting incident. It's both like where Meg Ryan kind of has a crisis in faith, crisis in belief in science. As Nic Cage, Nic Cage connects with her for the first time. And so this is the inciting moment. So you kind of want it to be this big, a little bit theatrical, a little heightened cinema moment, in a way that it's like, it's most of the way there. Again, it's like a 5.5. There's some juice to it. They do some stuff. They do some lighting and but it's not, I don't know. It was kind of an interestingly, they do better at the slower moments, the less rushed moments later on. I agree.
So Nic Cage, because of all this, but doing his usual job of helping this person sort of move on, he also becomes enamored with Meg Ryan's character. He falls in love, sort of. Because he's not people.
Can he?
Yeah. Can he?
He's an angel.
There was a terrific, I thought this was actually a good moment here, in terms of talking about like filming stuff. There is a scene where Nic Cage is in the hospital. He is watching over her sort of next surgery, just out of interest, not because he's there to take someone away. We meet Dennis Franz, who is
Franz,
going to be a bigger character later, but we just sort of see him in like he's like getting ready for like a lesser surgery, that she has to push back because she's emotionally compromised.
She's wrought.
Her cohort slash maybe boss slash boyfriend fling is like, you can't do this surgery today.
The Judge Reinhold of the movie. Of course, in any rom-com, you got to have the guy that's there, and most of the time, he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of also
he's
there.
Just not right. I have a comment about him later when something happens.
Yeah, I got some feelings about him. And actually, we meet later in the movie's actions kind of recontextualize this, where he just goes, "Hey, you got to stop." And in this scene, he's like, "Oh, he cares about her," and like, "Oh, he's being like protective of her." And other scenes later on in the movie, the fact that he's just like, "I've made a decision for you," is increasingly troublesome.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of feminists in these Nic Cage movies, unfortunately. Not so far.
No.
So but the scene that I actually was like, wow, that's actually like fairly cool, is Nic Cage is walking down the hallway rather than teleporting. And he keeps looking into like rooms in the hospital. And in most of the rooms, there is an angel with somebody, someone he knows. And they keep nodding at him. And all these angels are in long black coats, and they're watching over people. And then he walks by the maternity ward where Meg Ryan's character has stopped into. And she is there looking over all these newborn babies in her long white coat. And there's a very I was like, okay, so we have something here that here's his connection. Here's this like thing that he's seen in her. And we have a little bit of film language to try and bridge that gap. And I appreciated that. I thought that was well done in terms of like shooting stuff.
Agreed.
The
angel montages, there's a couple of them throughout in this, especially in this kind of first act of the movie. There's a couple of different angel montages that it's like, these really work. These are fun. It's kind of fun to see them as these extra, these birds kind of observing people and kind of floating around people. I dig it. It's fun.
Yeah. They're always around. It feels like in some of these scenes, you could almost never miss one.
I will say,
do get.
Well, I don't know if you're. So go on. I'm sorry. I mean, I've cut you off.
It's a minor thing, but there's a crazy line of dialogue in the immediate following scene where Meg Ryan's character, by the way, her name is Maggie. I keep forgetting to say her real name.
Maggie Ryan.
It's Maggie something. I don't remember the last name right now.
Sure.
But she is talking with another doctor in the NICU, or in like the maternity ward where all these babies are in cradles. And there's one baby that is like really upset. And she asks the other doctor what's going on. And they're like, well, the baby has no parents. But the way she says that is, well, we don't know the parents. They found him in a dumpster behind the House of Pies, which is like a car crash stop, like dead stop in the movie for me. I was like, there is no way that's the best line of dialogue they could put right there.
Yeah. What a funny...
in a movie that's really, truly serious almost the whole way through. Never has a joke in it. And that's not read like a joke either. But it is a crazy line.
It is wild. There is no other reason, we only see the baby a couple times, but there is no reason that baby needs to be an abandoned dumpster baby.
I specifically worded that way.
I can't think of why it's a dumpster baby. Yeah, it's kind of a weird, it's just like, oh yeah, this is a baby that was born.
It could have been anything, right?
Could have been baby.
In script writing, when Kyle's a writer, I've had other people who are writers on the show. I talk about that with them, where it's like, in a movie, it can be anything.
Yeah, this is a fictional story. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, and it's just like, I guess there's just a little bit more interest to it. There's the like, so that you have the increasingly more sympathy for the baby, and that's why even more reason Meg Ryan should care about it. I guess. But it's also just a baby. It could just be anybody's baby. Weird
Who
move. I
doesn't
agree.
care enough about a baby?
I mean, the line
Any
I
of that.
wrote down. The line I wrote down from that exchange was when her like best friend doctor said to not date other people in pediatrics because they're usually OGBYNs. And she says, never date a man who knows more about your vagina than you do.
Oh yeah. So,
oh, sassy best friend. Not used enough, I think. She was fun.
Yeah, I would have liked to
Could've been
see maybe some more scenes with her.
Yeah. But I do, before getting to, this is I want to observe that this is around this chunk of the movie is where I had two of my kind of bigger thoughts about this movie. I will say three big thoughts about it around this time, looking at my notes. One of them is that I think the one thing about that, while they do kind of a good visual language establishment of who these angels are, something that they never quite really establish is like kind of like what the function of angels are. Because we see that Nic Cage is like a shepherd of the dead onto heaven. Mm-hmm. So that's obvious. But then we see them. There's in the montage, these opening montage of all the angels doing their angel work. Nic Cage is at like an airport control tower, and there's a airport controller who's distracted, and Nick puts his hand on him, and he shakes out of his distraction and realizes he's got to get back to his job and keeping people safe in the air. So like that is also this kind of guardian angel nature. But then there's also, and you may want to talk about this later, but that they all live in the library for reasons that I'm not entirely, I don't quite get the gesture that the angels kind of roost is at the library. It seems to be because it's like the center of all culture, and that's where like humans are the most interesting. Because then there are shots of him at the library where he's just sitting and absorbing somebody reading a book, and he's just big smile on his face. He's just very pleased to observe a human reading a book.
Yeah. He gets
so they're just kind of like these couple of different roles. He just kind of observes, but then also steps in and is a guardian angel, and then also is that grim reaper shepherding them to the afterlife.
They do sort of, it seems in a move that I think is common sometimes in movies that decide they're going to have a supernatural element, by trying to make a couple of concrete things true, they make it more vague. Or if it was just like, if Nic Cage was like in charge of shepherding people to the afterlife and he talked with his friend, if Andre Braugher was like, I do a different thing, so you have a very different, that would almost be like, make more sense than it being like, well, they kind of do everything. They're just sort of around and they do whatever.
Yeah, they're just kind of energies. And it kind of makes it like you kind of squint and it makes sense because you kind of feel in the like, okay, like angels do all like everything I have listed, people attribute to angels. So
yeah,
there is an explanation in my own head. Yeah. But it's mostly that like then later on, as he gets increasingly more in love with Meg Ryan and more increasingly wants to spend time with her, there's like there's an interesting like lack of angel presence in the like Andre Braugher never sits him down and has a chat with it like, hey man, you're like this, like you're spending too much time with this woman. Yeah. With you gotta go continue your guardian angelship. You're shirking on your duties.
There's no implication that like him hyper focusing on his interest in Meg Ryan is like, there's no implication.
There's no negative impact.
Right, that it's causing like things to slip.
Ripples.
But there's an implication by the things he does do earlier in the movie that the lack of his presence could cause problems. Like in addition to the air traffic controller thing, they don't stop a convenience store robbery, but they do like keep the temperature down to make sure no one gets hurt during it. Like they sort of intervene at that too, and it's like
they give the like cash the vendor kind of calm, and then the gunman is also chills out. Yeah. So they do influence things, and that.
So there's nothing explicit where they're like, oh yeah, if you're not around, like some bad stuff might happen. But it does sort of imply that like he exists in time, and he needs to be in certain places, even though he can essentially teleport, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. He does still need to like be at hand, it feels like, to have influence. So there is like,
Maybe.
I guess for what the movie's about, that's not like the most critical thing, but it's a
No.
question that gets raised where it's like, well, so are there people who are like not getting shepherded to the afterlife
Well, that's like
because
it
he's
in the movie
because he's
as
dating?
presented. Yeah, as the movie is presented, it's unimportant. So it's like, all right, whatever, like kind of
Yeah.
whatever. But as an audience member trying to like, oh, kind of be maybe, a one step ahead, or trying to manage my expectations as I watched the movie, there was a couple of times where I'm like, well, surely Andre Braugher is going to come back and say, what are you doing? You're letting your job slip. This is, you got to stop this with this human woman. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, there's and like there's or again early on there's this another kind of fun scene where they're in the library and all the angels kind of lean over and notice what he's doing with this Meg Ryan woman,
Mhm.
the Maggie, and they're all observing, and he's like, oh, like, let's leave so that we can walk away from all these angels watching us. But like that also doesn't come of anything. There is no consequence to
That
him.
Yeah.
So like later on,
That's more of like
that's some
he
other note I
draws
had
their
later.
interest. He draws their
Yeah,
interest, but it's not like it's not as if like he's about to get in trouble or it's consequential. It's just
he
like
doesn't
they're
seem to
all like,
break
what's he up
rules.
to? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um so and we
so
get a
that's
little bit into like free will as sort of a question. This movie
mhm.
is sort of like brought up via them. Um but so Nick Cage decides to kind of like make himself um present, which appears to be another sort of his like he's all these angels are invisible. That's also important. Whenever he's in a
Mhm.
room, no one can see him. Part of what attracts him to Meg Ryan's character, to Maggie, is he feels like during the surgery when he was there to like bring this guy to the afterlife that she looked right at him while she was trying to save the guy's life. And uh so he decides he wants to be like corporeal and visible to her to try and get closer. Um he is it it works. Let's say this. His approach is kind of clearly creepy and alien. It
Yeah.
works. Like he comes across, I guess, as mysterious, but he also comes across as like, I mean, a genre savvy doctor might go, I think this guy's like an alien or he's not a human because he's acting very strange.
Well, so this leads into kind of my second big idea that I was chewing on throughout this whole movie is the fact that there's like there's a lot of shots of Nicolas Cage needing to be comforting and like provide
Mhm.
comfort to people and being a like energy of good. And
Yeah.
I was just like, hmm. I kept on going back and forth on whether or not Nicolas Cage was the correct actor for such a
To
task,
see him comforting. Yeah.
because
That
he definitely has the like alien. You know what is funny is I didn't even think about this person, but as you and I started talking, I was started with the Keanu Reeves of it all. That there is this like, oh,
yeah.
he's Keanu Reeves would also do a good. I don't know what these humans are, but I'm amused by them. Kind of energy would be a Keanu Reeves kind of energy. But
Mhm.
like, but then I was thinking, I'm like, sorry, this is my series of thoughts was like, like thinking of '98 actors in '98 who could handle who'd be it would be like I immediately think of Robin Williams, but I don't
Yeah.
think he would have like the restraint that you would need. I think you need to have somebody who he has the like comforting energy, the like paternally comforting energy, but I think he would
Yeah.
probably not be able to like
Maybe like
and
a
then
Greg Kinnear.
well, you know who
Maybe
you know
has
it's
that sort of.
you know what I landed on is that I was thinking of Tom Hanks.
Mhm.
But
I
then,
mean, Mr. Rogers, after
but
all.
you know what I realized though was I was thinking like Tom Hanks was big in '98. And you know what? Why he probably couldn't do this movie? Why he it would be bad casting for this movie is because he already did a Meg Ryan rom com in 1998 with "You
He was,
Got Mail."
yeah, that would have probably that would have, yeah. I mean,
I
point
didn't realize
Meg
that when
Ryan
I
did. I mean, Meg Ryan did a bunch of rom coms and rom drams with. I mean, name a guy who had something to do acting wise in the 90s. She really did rack up a lot of these movies in that era. But yeah, that probably would have been a little too uh inconvenient to just bring them together again for this other, yeah.
for a second 1998 movie that is also them falling in love. Yeah, I realized that after the movie. I got on the Tom Cruise jag while I was watching the movie and couldn't unsee it because I think like for something like Forrest Gump demonstrates that Tom Hanks
Tom Hanks. Yeah.
can kind of have that like distance from humanity if he wants to. He kind of feel awkward around trying to
Yeah.
navigate like, oh, what are other people like? He like has those chops, but then has that like warmth and humanity, the love for humanity kind of energy that you need. So I was really kind of locked in on that for the rest of the movie until afterwards I realized my mistake that I probably thought of Tom Cruise because of You Got Mail. So
Yes. But that was like, yeah, and I got that feeling too, and it is, that feeling is heightened a little bit by his sort of leaving that capacity, because he does kind of voyeuristically stalk her a little
yeah.
bit.
Meanwhile, in the actual movie, Cage is a real creep for a little bit, and it really pushes the premise of this movie kind of, pushes the edges of the premise of this movie when, it's a love story between a woman and a creature that can just watch her in the bath, or absolutely in a scene in which she's looking in the mirror naked. We cut to his face. We don't see her, the shoulders up,
Mhm.
polite, but we do cut to him, and he tilts his head down, a downward
Yeah.
angle. It's like,
He just, it's
ooh.
it's very like, there are moments where it was like, he is invisible. He is all powerful to an extent, I guess.
It's omniscient.
He is
Fair.
he definitely always knows where she is, because he can always show up exactly where she is or is going to be. And he can, and like the scene where she's in the bath, he's sort of averting his eyes, and then he definitely isn't when she's naked in the mirror. So that's kind of odd. That like, why have both of those moments? But he does sort of approach it with like again, with almost a curiosity of like, he doesn't understand. But that is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a human actor playing a character who is invisible and essentially peeping on somebody. It's still weird.
Well, like that's
Like, it's still,
it is kind of the like that is also again where the premise like is thin in that he is established as that the other another comic book comparison is that the angels are very like Uatu, the Watcher, that they're all kind of
yes.
passionless watchers, and then but it's it's a weird thing because there is like there's a couple different times, and we'll bring it up later, is that like there is this weird dissonance between being aliens that don't know how humans work, but creatures who are only watching humans, like standing next to them at their worst times. And so like later, there's a point in which I won't spoil it until we get to it, but there's a part where it's like, how do you not know how humans do stuff? Because you're watching like everybody do stuff all the time. And so like there's this like fascination with Meg Ryan and her body because like, oh, am I into this woman? But like, how many women have you seen? Like, is this? How
There's no
unique is
chance
this
he's
exchange?
never. You're right. I did not think about it. There's no chance he's never seen a naked person before, because he's an angel. He's been alive forever. He was, he wasn't born. He was created. That's sort of like implied in the movie. That's how that works. And that he's been around for all of human history and is always around when people are in need of something. There's no way he hasn't seen a person naked. So like that curiosity is sort of unearned.
I guess he's seeing her boobs in a new light because he's in love. But again, like that doesn't feel good to say. I
gotta put that on my Hinge profile. I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see some things in a new light.
Looking to see. Yeah. Go for it. You sure, man. You feel free.
I'll see I'll see if that works. I'll let you know.
Get back to me
if that has any if that reaps any grain.
Yeah. So like yeah. But I mean that speaks to this. To her. Here's my number. My third point though. My third big high level premise pushing point is the same idea I have with any of these. Like there's a recent Disney Plus show called What If, and that has Watu, the Watcher, and that's a show about him watching other universes and other ways the Marvel universe could turn out. But he's a character from the Marvel universe that is this apolitical observer, dispassionate observer. And that's my issue with this movie and Watu and all of that. With the scope at which these angels operate, that these are just kind of observers of human beings for all of humanity, and it only takes until 1998 for you to go, wait a second, maybe I do like boobs. Maybe this woman has such blue eyes that I want to not be an angel no more. And it is always a premise that kind of chafes in me because of that whole idea that like we have witnessed all of humanity. I am this creature, never immortal creature, and would if continue on to see all of the billions and billions and billions and billions of people, except for this one person, this woman, so cool. I think I could hang out with her. And it's like, and there's a little bit of that, like, now you want to break the rules after all of this. This is the one person. And so like, it's the same thing with Watu with the, like, oh, there's a billion, million, trillion alternate universes, except for this one. This one, cool. It's like, really? And you're saying that, that really this, and usually they have a lot of, when you write them correctly, these characters like have a dispassion for humanity because they see so much of it. And it's like, oh yeah, humans are just like a blip. One human is a gnat to me. But oftentimes they bail on that idea and just be like, well, I like this gnat though.
These are my pets. These are the humans I like best. So I'm going to give them his. I think I agree for the most part with those three big like critiques of the premise, which is that there's some problems with like the way that I mean, and I guess some of that can be chalked up to its genre, and it's a genre outside of what we're used to for genre. So some of those things just get hand waved. But also,
and to be clear, I'm also, these are not disqualified. These aren't as much as they are critiques or like things that like my brain brought up. They're not disqualifying. I saw fun with the movie. Like I accepted them as part of this premise. There's some parts of this movie that I wish engaged with those ideas more, especially does like the role of angels, just because it would like further the ideas of the movie. But they're not, I still enjoyed myself while watching this. However, those are three things: is that maybe Tom Hanks, I don't know, what's the deal with these angels, and is omniscience kind of what about that? How does this movie feel philosophically about omniscience? I don't know.
We do so Nic Cage has his little intro with her in the he pretends to be a friend of Mr. Messenger, is the guy who Dennis Franz plays. He pretends to be his friend on the concept that he will wind up then meeting Maggie in the hallway. They have an extremely
he's Dennis Franz. Awesome.
Dennis Franz.
Excellently cast. Dennis Franz is always great. He's awesome.
Dennis Franz and Andre Braugher are both terrific terrific like casting call pulls for this movie, in a movie that was obviously written as a tentpole for like big names in the romance drama scene, and like pulling Nic Cage and Meg Ryan are like almost very obvious casting, like they just called an agent. Andre Braugher and Dennis Franz are like auditioned into and in the pocket for their roles in this. They are awesome.
My only note for the two of them, I want more of them. They were great. I want more scenes with both of them. Both of them are so good. I want more.
So she has a talk with Nic Cage. He, you know, he's sort of awkward and weird, but it sort of gets to her and she's very interested. Intense. It's very intense. It's very like he gets right to the core of asking deep questions. He has what I coin what I've heard other people say. I won't claim to coin this. They have an LA introduction, which is sort of the concept of if you've never heard of this, people say that you have an LA introduction is when you meet someone for the first time and you immediately have a conversation about like your trauma or your therapy, and it's because there's no weather to talk about in LA because it's always the same, and so people immediately talk about deep things instead of small talk. So they have that. She finds him fascinating. She does say, you better get out of here before you get in trouble. And then he takes it super literally and Batman vanishes. So she turns around and he's gone. And she's like, I'll just let that sit in my brain and not think about it. But she like gets her groove back. Like she's all of a sudden like this convo like brings her back. She does her other surgery on Dennis Franz and is like feeling good. And we learn now that the doctor that sort of gave her like, you need to take a step back moment. She walks outside to talk to him
on the roof
because
roof. There's a basketball hoop that they've set up on the corner of the helipad, which I think is the worst part of the roof to have a hoop on.
Super illegal for sure. A bad
just put it on a different part of the roof.
It's the helipad. It's there for emergencies, very obviously. He's up there smoking and shooting hoops, but she needs to give him back the book that she thinks that he must have lent her when he stayed the night. It's The Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, which is the book that Nic Cage, Seth the Angel, heard someone reading from and thought was so beautiful. He left it for her with angel magic. Which would confuse anyone.
A concept that does like his ability to place items kind of only happens once. Yeah. It's not that important.
Yeah,
just observe.
Sort of.
He never does that again.
But the other doctor is like, I didn't give this to you, and they have like a brief talk about how their relationship is kind of convenience.
Weird. Such a fat like. Such a clear role in the movie to be like used so like the movie.
He's a utilitarian.
Deploys him so weird. Yes. There's weirder scenes later, and I'm excited to talk about the weirder uses of Jeremy or whatever Jordan. But like
that sounds right.
He's an odd. It's for such an obvious Judge Reinhold. He's the other guy character. The other guy in this movie is an odd man.
It's weird that they're not more in the relationship, I guess, is the thing that makes their sort of balance kind of weird. In another romantic movie, he would be like you said, like this Judge Reinhold, or like the existing fiance, right? Like that's kind of the character trope in rom-coms and romantic dramas, is like, or in the Hallmark sort of movie setup version of this, where he's like the person who stayed behind while she had to take her business trip to the small town to get seduced by a man.
The cuck.
Yeah.
The Reinholdian cuck as an archetype, Aristotelian trope of
the Aristotelian cuck. Yes. Yeah. He's kind of not. They have a very they're like, they just sort of hook up every now and then. It's kind of like a very settled thing. people kind of talk about how they're together, but not completely.
Except that in a couple scenes, she walks in and she's like, "Why do you pack my bag?" "Oh, hey, babe." "No, hey, man, why do you pack my bag?" "Oh, because we're going to Tahoe. You need to go to Tahoe to your cabin. So we're going to go camping." And I was just the wildest. We're gonna circle back to the scene between these two, basketball scene and the camping scene. But she goes to her own house, and Jordan is just there. He's like waiting. He's like not cooking dinner, I don't think. He's just like there, and he's packed her bag, and they're going to go camping. Her dog shows up. Oh, hey, there's a tick on the dog. Hey, can you hand me the olive oil? It's just a weird business.
It's so
just like
strange.
They're having a conversation as he's getting a tick off of the head of her dog, and I don't think that is like speaking to. There's not that her dog's a tick is not meaningful. It's just like kind of, instead of washing dishes, that's just like a thing he's doing.
It's setting up a scene. It's mostly there just to show Nic Cage, the Invisible Angel, is there to feel kind of guilty that she might already have someone that she has feelings for. Although if he was a human, he would be like, I don't know what this relationship is. They kind of bounce off each other, but I don't know if that's settled.
Yeah. And then the scene ends with, because this is the scene between these scenes, between the basketball scene and the weird dog tick scene, is that Nic Cage and Meg Ryan hang out for the first time. They kind of go on a date, and there's this. So she comes into this scene having kind of still being starstruck from Nic Cage. So she's like, "Hey, can we just look into each other's eyes, Jordan, you and me? Just like, because we have more of a relationship than just a physical one?" And then they do for 45 seconds, like for 15 seconds. She breaks, giggles, and is like, screw it. And then they go into the bedroom. So she like immediately bails on her own convictions of like, maybe this relationship with Jordan is bad. She immediately bails on it and just falls back into patterns with him, just kind of unforcedly. No one's asking for it. No one's like, it's such a weird, there's nothing about Jordan that really explains why she begrudged, like, all right. Because he's a fine enough actor, but is not like the slick Judge Reinhold style. There's no charisma to the guy. He's just a kind of guy who tells her to do stuff all the time. It's just such weird.
They really seem to be together because they're both.
He told her to.
Or maybe that. Yeah.
He told her that they were together.
That he was like, hey, we should date. And she was like, all the like modern sort of like willful personality traits are established.
She rides a bike, for God's sake. She's a cool person. She's a big catch. This relationship is so she's got weird. Tiny sunglasses. She could get anyone she wants.
I did, and on the weird first date that she has with Seth, with Nic Cage, I did write his misunderstanding of everything human makes him seem philosophical, I guess is the like approach. Yeah. But it is it again just makes him seem so weird in real life that I don't really know if it would work.
Totally. He says, "How do you explain the enduring myth of heaven?" is the thing he says to her. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, man.
It's bizarre. It's crazy.
No small talk, huh?
The thing I wrote about them doing the staring in the eye things is that she challenges him to live in their relationship. Like that eye staring thing is like, she really is just being like, okay, let's, instead of it being like we're going to run off on an adventure, or we're going to do something that's, that's like crazy, or we're going to hook up and then separate. Let's like have a meaningful connection for 60 seconds. And if it was like he looked away first and she was like, "Oh, that's a bummer." No, they Red both flag. Immediately can't do it. Like
she breaks first. Seconds. She starts giggling. That's the thing. Is like, let's just live in this relationship, her and Jordan. And she's the one that bails first. And they're like, all right, never mind. And it's like, what? As I said, it's such a straightforward, cut and dry Aristotelian cuck that it's wild that there is, on top of that, these weird details, that the expression of that not being the right fit for her is not, and another character is not doesn't live at a 7. This is not humongously melodramatic. He's not super incompatible with her. He's just like mostly incompatible with her. Weird energy.
Yeah. Very weird.
Anyway.
We do so we move a little bit further. Nic Cage is starting to get kind of mopey because his interpretation of them sort of sharing this conversation is that he should step away, that this is not appropriate for him. One, he's sort of stepping on human affairs in kind of general, but also, and that two,
not that there's consequences to that. He just kind of, not that there's anyone, Andre is not saying, oh, you should be careful about, because anyway, I won't continue to hammer on this weird. I don't know what his role is.
I think he's mostly upset that he's kind of messing with her, right? That like, because he can't, in his head at this moment, he's like, I can't do anything about this, right? Like I can sort of any step further that I take this than us going on a couple dates is eventually I have to say I'm immortal, I'm an angel, and those are going to cause problems.
Yeah,
and he winds up hanging out with Dennis Franz, who says
Dennis Franz seems to know that he's there.
I know you're there, even though I can't see you. Ooh. And Nic Cage is like, what the hell does he mean by that? And so he makes himself visible, and Franz reveals, Mr. Messenger, that he is what Nic Cage is, or he was what Nic Cage is. He says two things right in a row that made me write Franz is an ex-angel, because he talks to me, he's like, I've been where you were. I remember, he says something like, I remember how beautiful everyone was, because he sees Nic Cage's face and is like, oh, you're so beautiful. And like, I remember that everyone who was an angel looked, attractive. And then he says, this is about that doctor. And he says, she's a little flat for me. And so I wrote, he's a perv too.
Yeah, perv like Nic Cage is. He also, Franz is definitely, when he was an angel, definitely watched women naked. Oh, he got it. But like not in a bad way, in an angel way. But absolutely in a perv way.
But
in a voyeur way.
He's like he starts spilling his guts to.
This is one of my favorite scenes of the movie, is them in the diner. Franz is still in his hospital gown because he's been like kind of like broken out of the hospital ish, and they go to a diner, and he goes off about like his deal. That's great.
Yeah. So he was an angel. He of course fell in love with a woman. And he fell is the term they always use. He fell, he jumped, he decided to, forsake being immortal and become a human and just sort of wake up and be a person and start trying to pursue this woman he fell in love with. And he has had a whole life. He's gotten old, he's had kids and grandkids, and
he's also, Dennis Franz, I looked it up, was 54 in this movie and has a wife, a kid, a house. Boy, a different world, the 1990s, to be 54 and already have grandkids. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so he sort of sets Nic Cage on this path of like, are you going to do this? Right. He all of a sudden presents him with the sort of proverbial, I guess. Yeah. The proverbial
temptation.
I would say temptation, or like, apple of knowledge. It's not really quite like that because it's not evil, I guess. And the way it's framed is not a very bad thing. It's just a thing you could do. Like it's
turn out to be the devil. That'd be kind of a cool turn if Franz turns out to be the devil. It's not, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting take on it.
He's a fallen angel in the devil way.
He is, after all. Yeah. It's kind of not what they wanted the movie to be, I guess.
No, that's not the point of this movie, but I will say, having especially if you plans to see it, and this scene is where I only wanted to have a buddy movie between Franz and Nicolas Cage. And Cage is meant to, because like, oh man, Nicolas, he's so good at so he's really great at contrasting against Nicolas Cage. And there's this, he's kind of a classic, iconic New Yorker guy, and he's this roly-poly dude with eating all his food. He's a hedonist, smoking and living life. And that immediately inspired me to come up with an entire new movie that it is like Cage meets Franz first, and is like mentored about the prospect of being a human, and then like is mentored in being a human, and then like Meg Ryan's character, the love interest, gets introduced, but like later on, and is like basically the amount of screen time between the love interest and this mentor would be like swapped, and it's much more of a buddy comedy movie, was suddenly all I wanted. I was like, oh my God, that would be an awesome movie. This movie's pretty good.
Their vibe is so cool because Dennis Franz, I mean, all I can think about when I think of Dennis Franz, because it was on TV, it felt like all day when I was a kid, was NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
And he's such a wild, big presence. And he is that very, just like, he is totally that, like, that attitude and accent. And Nic Cage plays so level and off-putting in this that contrast was so good in the scenes that they shared together.
Exactly.
So he kind of makes an emotional bid. He goes to meet up with Meg Ryan in a park.
Mm-hmm. Well, not before we get a little bit of Franz ass. That's fun.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
He takes Dennis Franz to the beach to body surf. That's right. And Franz cannot resist getting totally nude to do this, of course.
Well, there's the two things about that. It is the second time we come back to this idea that all of the angels start and end their day on the beach, looking up at the sun, hearing the music of the sun. And it's something that Franz now as a human doesn't get to hear anymore. But it's this another kind of cool, impactful imagery of the movie, something that the movie does. Another angel thing they do cool is this flock of angels dotting the beach, and they're all just watching the sun. Yeah. And then
very, very cool filmic shot of like tons of people on the beach, and they all just sort of bliss out at a sound that no one can hear. Again, very sort of concepty and interesting.
But not at the risk of plugging a different podcast. The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers do a podcast called The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers Podcast. And a while ago, they brought up the fact that Dennis Franz, his naked butt was on an episode of NYPD Blue. And so to see his butt again, the man is confident in his butt. How fun. Good on him.
He drops totally nude. They go body surfing,
and he's naked. I don't think we watch him take off his clothes. I think Nic Cage looks over and Dennis Franz is already naked running into the water.
Yeah, he's like, I'm ready. I came to the beach for a reason. You don't have to do this with me.
But it's another add it to the list of cool shots where it is this cool photography of him and Nic Cage out in the waves in the ocean and living life. He's experiencing life by going out into the water, and that was a cool imagery.
Yeah, that was a good shot film wise. The underwater stuff was very, very neat.
The movie does good with the slower paced, emotional, unhurried stuff like that.
And then any non-dialogue scene, they do some work to try to give you something that's happening. It's very like, I don't know, that almost feels old fashioned.
Yeah. They do really good montages in this movie.
Yeah. So the scene I was referring to, Nic Cage shows up at the park where Meg Ryan is. She's hanging out with her dog, and he starts sort of an awkward conversation with her, as is his usual come on technique. He kind of awkwardly asks, "What about your boyfriend?" Because it seems like she's getting really interested in him. And she starts trying to get his vibe. And she asks him a bunch of questions like, have you been in jail or something like that? But the button she puts on it is, are you a drummer?
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's a 90s if I ever
Yeah.
Like that's
Yes. Absolutely. It's absolutely a friend's ass joke.
oh yeah.
Fucking Monica. Like, is
Yes.
he a
If
drummer?
if
Yeah.
if if they had a list of potential dates for someone on a sitcom and someone would be like, "Oh, what
Hilarious.
does he do?" And like he's a drummer and they would like
Don't tell me
throw
he's a
his
drummer.
file away.
Yeah.
Um and then he's kind of trying to like it feels like at any moment he could just say in the scene like, "So here's the thing, I'm not, you know, a
Yeah.
person per se." But instead he's kind of like halfway in. Um and so they share a very awkward kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he kind of no sells it. He's sort of like not all the way
Mm,
in it. And
nice.
she's yeah, and she's
I
like
like this.
yeah, she literally
Yummy.
says, "Did you feel that?" And he kind of makes a face like he has no idea what that's supposed to mean because he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Which
And they
again, surely you've seen a human being like it's not a new idea. And just because you can't feel kisses doesn't mean you can't lie. Like I guess, oh, actually, I think it is established somewhere that like angels can't lie or something. I don't know. It's a
yeah,
weird reaction, regardless.
he's not supposed to be able to lie, but also like he it's definitely not established until later in the movie that he can't feel. So
Yeah,
I was taken aback by this moment where I was like, what exactly happened in that moment that was like, did she feel his like, was it like he's
angel.
too like calming and powerful of a presence that that kiss was like for her uncomfortable? Because that's sort of how it's
Yeah,
played. It
I
was
kind of
very,
yeah would have
very
expected her to be like, "Ooh, my lips they hurt" or something. Or "Ooh, you feel weird. You're not a
yeah,
human. Those aren't human mouth."
or or like she felt too comforted or too like in touch. I don't know,
Yeah,
like too.
yeah.
It would have been too in, and like they don't really explore that. It
No,
just the
yeah.
moment goes off poorly.
She kisses a
He
ghost.
goes, yeah, that's essentially it. And he goes away, and she's sort of upset because she feels like something clearly went wrong. But they both wind up invited to the same party, to Dennis Franz's "I'm better from surgery" party.
Which I
Um,
don't know if that's a professional thing for doctor. I don't know if surgeons do that. Show up
Really,
to like
really should
get
not be
well
there.
soon parties. They're like, hey, made it through the surgery party. Here's my I
Yeah,
maybe like yeah, I don't think surgeons do that.
I
I don't know
think
if there's an
maybe they
ethics thing, but
shouldn't.
I don't know if it's an ethics
I
thing, but it kind of feels like it.
I mean, I would imagine this. Imagine if someone got like a liver transplant and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to have a get well soon party," and you're the surgeon. You come back and they're drinking.
Yeah.
They promised like that's part of the deal. Like this guy had heart surgery and they're like grilling out there. They got
Yeah,
all this
no,
food.
a number of different funny. Oh, Dennis Franz is eating a bunch of food moments, but
Oh yeah.
no effort to say. Almost no effort. There's his like wife doesn't approve of him eating ice cream when we first
Mhm.
meet him, but like beyond that, there's no like, hey man, you should just because you are hedonistically enjoying every sensation of being a human because you were an angel for so long. There are consequences. You're a human now. You could fucking die from a
Um
heart attack, man.
I did note in this scene I wrote the sexual tension is spoiling this normal party where it's like in a thing that I think a lot of movies don't do this and they should. Their awkwardness around each other is not just affecting their enjoyment, but there are clearly other people who are around who are like, are these two gonna
Oh,
leave soon?
there's not that
Because
many other people at this party, and so they're kind of taking up a lot of air. There's only, well,
they're rolling up a lot of the energy for themselves here.
Nick Cage, Meg Ryan, Dennis Franz, and then a weird or a random child hanging off of Nick Cage's neck.
Mhm.
She's
It's
just like there. It's very weird.
probably one of Dennis Franz's grandchildren as established in the earlier scene, but like
Oh
never
yeah,
like in a moment where you think because he's showed off about his grandkids to I think both Maggie and Seth that he would be like, this is my granddaughter. But like we don't get that. We just sort of have to assume. They do take a picture of Nick Cage with someone, and the Polaroid prints, and he's biblically accurate in the Polaroid. He's like a spray
big
of
lens flare.
Yeah, I thought that would have been a great moment for this movie to decide they were going to lean fully into like the like medieval era biblical oddity, and the picture is of like the other person in the photo, and then a big ring of 700 eyes and 1,000 wings, and she's like, "Whoa, that's what I kissed earlier today."
Whoa, which ring? I just thought he was gonna vampire style just not be in the picture. So
yeah,
good on him for doing a little like lens flary. Oh, the blinding light, too bright.
But they wind up leaving at the same time because I wasn't clear about that. It seems
they
like
came
people.
She drove me here.
Yeah, maybe. And so they both are going back to her place
for dinner.
She starts cutting up a salad. This is a weird moment in this movie. Did you notice weird chopping Foley while she was cutting?
I was absolutely going to bring that up. Loudest lettuce Foley in the world.
It was in a movie that does not have like, there's a lot of like maybe weird script choices, but no technical mistakes in this movie. It's pretty taut.
The mix for a movie. Lettuce.
I was like, what? I was like, what the hell? Is that how lettuce sounds in California? Is that how fresh that shit is out there?
So fresh.
Like, it is.
Yeah, it's wild.
They have a little détente. They get on each other's nerves as much as he can have nerves because he's sort of calm through the whole thing. But and I was like, she's like finally thinking that his whole thing is creepy. Like the moment she's like now wait
into this dynamic. She finally is. Wait a second. Maybe this guy who only just constantly stares at me. I think he sniffed my hair while I was looking into this microscope. Deeply just does not know how to do small talk. Now I have questions. I finally have kind of gotten tired of this bullshit. The honeymoon phase is over, and that he just is always staring at me is maybe a little bit too much.
He does pull the I need to find something in the room bit to come up with his fake last name.
Oh yeah.
And like truly like that. In a moment where it's like earlier in the movie, they did establish that angels can't lie, but I guess what they meant is they're bad at it. Not that like he's physically like
not liar style.
He just says plate is his last name. He just sees a plate and is clearly like just says plate. So she kicks him out, but then she's extremely distraught. We get another montage, and we also get a crazy needle drop.
Oh, craziest needle drop in the world. First of all, like 45 minutes. This is like a 2-hour movie. Must be like at least 45 minutes into the movie. Any other? We've mentioned a couple of different montages that we have both really liked. They were scored. Yeah. They were normal movie score orchestra stuff. This is the first time this deep into the movie we have a licensed music needle drop. What is that, Cody?
Arms of the Angel by Sarah McLachlan, which is
holy shit.
Which is crazy for a couple reasons. One, for context reasons, we are people who live in the future compared to this movie. So for us, that song means exactly one thing, and it's the ASPCA. It's Sad Dogs.
The angels. Keep on going.
It's the Sad Dog commercials where Sarah McLachlan comes on and says, just pennies a day, you can save these animals and all that sort. And like, but the other problem with that is that it's what in my own head, and I don't know if this is a term in film stuff or in critiques, I call it a first choice song.
Absolutely. It's like the scratch track or something like.
Yeah. If someone wrote a scene and they were like, yeah, so we're going to have like a montage of like, you know, It's going to be a bunch of people running, and they're trying to run as fast as they can, and the place they're trying to get to is Brooklyn, and it's the middle of the night. So I don't know, something plays like No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and it's like that's like,
we'll come up with something better. Yeah.
And they're like, or we can license something that's a little cooler or less obvious. This is so that where it's like, yeah, he's an angel, and later in this scene,
she's in his arms.
Wrap his arms around her to help her sleep. He gives her some guardian angel Ambien. And we're going to use arms of the angel. And they were like, we can't pick anything other than that now because it's too lodged in our brains.
I looked it up because I was like, for a second I was like, do they make that song or did they like premiere that song with this movie? And it does not seem so. It did come out in like 97, 98. So it is a fresh song. It was I think a single in 97 and then like on an album in 98. But I looked it up. I'm like, did they is the music video for this movie, for this song, have clips of City of Angels in it? And I'm going to see if I'm going to pull this up. As we're talking, I'm going to see if I can pull this up, the music video, because I do feel like it could have potentially, let's see.
To my knowledge, no.
I thought to see the music. I'm curious about the music video. No.
I will tell you as a brief spoiler for
nope, it's just her playing piano in candles. Nope.
There are 2 music videos on the special features of this disc.
Oh, okay.
For songs that come up later, because this song becomes soundtrack city in the last act.
Yeah. Shockingly large amount.
Symbolic of the choices he makes. So she wakes up having the first good night of sleep she's ever had by getting angeled. Yeah,
angel spooned. She gets angel spooned, which is again returns back to the troubling nature of this premise because she she assumes he's there. He is, but she doesn't see him. She doesn't know what he's actually doing. She feels his essence. Except she
mirrors
staring at him.
What Dennis Franz says. She says, I know you're there even if I can't see you. She says, I think almost the same thing. And he's just sort of very nearby. And then she lies down and she says, don't go. I just want you to, and he doesn't corporealize where he can they can actually feel each other, but he gives her the sort of calming angel thing. And it is
it feels bad.
It betrays the premise of the movie supposed to be romantic, that it is just so weird that we are at the halfway point or a little further of this movie. He's invisible most of this movie.
Yeah.
It's a little
and it's uncritical about his ability to spy on her. There's no Andre Braugher doesn't say anything. Dennis Franz doesn't say no remarks. Meg Ryan doesn't even go, so you can see me even if I can't see you, and then have him say something about that. Don't worry about it, baby. It's okay. I'll take care of you. I'm an angel. There's no acknowledgement that is a unsettling detail of this premise.
So
but she gets a good night of sleep. It feels great.
Yeah, she gets a good night of sleep.
Another detail I don't. It's another theme I don't quite pick up on, which is the idea that multiple times throughout the movie she's mentioned that she doesn't sleep very well, and then there is this wow, she gets great sleep because he's there for her. There's does feel like there's supposed to be a larger theme, does the sleep represent her conscience or her lack of belief in angels or lack of belief in religion, and then now that she embraces Nic Cage and religion, she can sleep again. It's a very weird. There's it feels like it's a thematic motif because they bring it up 3 or 4 times, and then there's this specific turn where she wakes up and sees the clock and she's slept through the night and she's yeah, and she busts into the hospital doing oh yeah, you making me feel so good kind of energy, bikes in, but then nothing else happens, and it's wait, what is that? There's no other sleep things. She's she never says like she couldn't fall asleep because of all the ghosts of the people that she killed while being a surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird.
It sets up like a thematic arc, but it doesn't really tell you what that arc is about. Like it's vague enough that it could be like, is it her sort of accepting this sort of like existence of a higher power, and it's easier to sleep because she knows that she can do her best to help, but sometimes it's out of her hands? Or is it far more literal in the like romantic language of the genre, where it's like she has a good night of sleep because she's so used to keeping like an arm's length on her like relationships with her friends and with this other guy she's dating.
When
and
Jordan's in the bed, she can't sleep, but when Seth's in the bed, I guess.
And like
that's the closest I have.
Yeah, I mean, she does immediately get inspiration on how to help the baby from behind the House of Pies.
Oh, that's what it
runs
is.
in the hospital.
She wakes up and goes, baby can't sleep, just like me.
Yeah.
I was like, do you also have a nose issue like the baby does? Is that the next thing? Is you also need nose surgery like the baby does?
So she goes in and she helps the baby. They get that fixed, and like she's elated and excited, and then she's talking with the other doctor, with Jordan. And
yes, the last of our Jordan, what the fuck is this dude's fucking deal scenes.
Out of nowhere, he's like, listen, let's go to Lake Tahoe. Let's go to your parents' cabin. Let's get married on the Nevada side of the Tahoe.
The weirdest matter of fact, like, and it's intentionally, it's like, he says like, oh, I don't know. I'm not good with affairs of the heart, emotional heart. But so like, I guess he's autistic good, I guess is what they're implying.
He said that, and I literally wrote, I don't think she even likes you, dude.
Like, where does he get in his head?
At this point in the movie, it's like, so you guys have gone from essentially fuck buddies to still just fuck buddies, but you had an awkward conversation about your relationship, to she kind of has not been around you much because of this other guy. You don't know that, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
To, I may as well propose now that this baby surgery,
it would make sense if I proposed to you. The most we ever get is that like she says to Nic Cage that like Jordan is like my type of person. He understands my like work. That like he's a surgeon like I am. He's a doctor like I am. He gets that part of me. Is like a line she says, I think maybe in this next scene when she has to decide between him and Seth and Jordan. But like beyond, absolutely no chemistry, absolutely no indication that. And like when he says proposal, she doesn't go, lol, what? And that's insane.
Yeah,
it's yet a couple of different insane reactions from her. Which is Nic Cage going,
she falls
what
right
do you think
out
about
of
the
that
mystic
moment.
idea of angels? And she doesn't go, hey man, that's cool, bye. And then Jordan goes, let's just get married. And she doesn't say, okay, cool, man, thanks, bye. Both of those things. Yeah. Neither of these dudes she should be that into.
Really, truly,
it's wild.
She does immediately after this, like, she goes to try to find Seth in the library. And she's just saying Seth in the aisles, like saying, like, I know you're there, and tells him, that she needs to leave him. They need to separate. They can't do this anymore. She needs to say goodbye. And I was like, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
That she, I kind of thought it was like, I kind of thought she was like saying no to both of them in that moment, maybe.
Yeah.
And like that's appealing to me from like a modern writing perspective of like at least give her a bid to be like, I'm gonna do neither on purpose.
Of some clearer amount of agency. She has agency in this movie, but
yeah, but we sort of leave her story for the time being because Seth hears that and immediately decides he has to fall. He's gonna do it, which is to me doesn't follow from the logic to me.
If I can't have her if I'm still an angel. but this is where I
So
came back. I continue to harp on this idea. This is and this is where I like most felt the idea of like what's the angels deal. And a lot of the rest of the movie, I can kind of infer like, okay, guardian angel, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of their job, their deal. But at this point, when he's like, do I stay an angel or do I become a human? Is where the issue of ill-defined angeldom comes into most prominence, because there is never a what's the pro side of being an angel that is pitched. Like Andre Berger doesn't come in and go, hey man, if you're giving up your immortality, then you lose XYZ. You would never get to blank again. You'd never get to do this again. You become you're like, there was never, so like there's no counter pitch to him becoming a human.
The closest thing is that he's not immortal anymore, and that I guess he doesn't have his like they sort of imply that like the moment you become a human, you're in pain because it's like you're not immediately connected to divinity or whatever, which is that's like an old fashioned, very religious, like that's like Paradise Lost kind of like that's like right up there with like, so there's maybe that, but in a world where they have not established like a bad afterlife in this world.
Hypothetically, if you become a human, you just die and go to heaven, and like that's not a bad thing as far as they
come back to the loop.
You're not, well, he's not gonna, because they say that like, there's a difference between, because like I think like the kid at the beginning wants to be an angel, and so like in that first conversation, it's established that angels and humans are two different like creatures.
Yeah, you can't go back to being an angel, but I mean, like there does not appear to be a hell in this world.
Yeah, being a human in heaven, like that's an immortal experience. That doesn't.
It's also good.
Like that seems to be. There's no reason pitched by the movie that would be a unpleasant way to put out your existence otherwise. So this will I not, this is the point in the movie where he has to make his big decision. He can only be with Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan will only be with him if he's can feel like she can.
If he's real. I mean, that's fair.
So he has to decide, will he jump? Will he take a leap of faith and jump off this building? But those stakes are weird. That's ultimately this is where why I feel like this is kind of where everything comes to a head on the ill-defined nature of angels, is that like these stakes here, from the rom-com side of things, or the rom-dram side of things, I understand he has to give up he has to sacrifice his life for Meg Ryan. But from the like fantasy, like what are you giving up part of it is, I was like, this is muddy.
He doesn't have it doesn't always feel like a real sacrifice in this moment.
Yeah. It's weird.
He does decide to jump, and he falls. It's a kind of cool, like,
that's the one montage that kind of doesn't work for me, because there's like clips of kids, but which is like, okay, yeah, they're like humanity, but it's also like clips of parts of the movie we've already seen. There's like the close up on Meg Ryan's leg in the bathroom that we open, that we see at the beginning of the movie. It's like brought back in black and white. And so it's like, oh, this isn't like his like a life flashing before his eyes. It's like or it's not like humanity flashing before his eyes. It's like some of the things he saw and other things that it was a little, for a movie that has really good montages. It's kind of a weird half idea.
Yeah, if they'd picked one or the other, like if it was all stuff that he remembered and knew about Maggie, and then that was sort of showing that this is the driving force, that would track. Or if it did the opposite and it was like what he's losing B-roll is what he's seeing, which is all this B-roll of everything that could have happened that he could ever have observed in all of human history. If they did either of those, it would feel maybe like it made a little more sense. But they kind of do both, and it's a little weaker.
Yeah.
But he wakes up
regardless,
and he's covered in blood. And
definitely
Nick Offerman is there.
Yes, Nick Offerman. 2 lines from Nick Offerman as just like construction worker number 2. Hell yeah. Weird Offerman call out.
It was another like B character where I was like, oh my God, like there he is. And I was Um, so he jumps up. He's alive. He's
I
bleeding.
will also say, this felt like the end of the movie. We cut to black, and that's the end of the movie because he's made his choice. He's jumped into leap of faith. There's the end of the movie. Great. He has decided to be a human. What that means, audience, you have to imagine for yourself. Close your eyes and picture him and Meg Ryan smooching.
That would have been.
And then I pause the movie, and it's an entire 1/2 an hour left of the movie. 30 entire minutes of a 2-hour movie still to go. And I go, huh, there's more to this movie. Uh-oh, okay. And then lights up on Nick Offerman being a construction worker who are they're very glib about the fact that there's a man laying out in their construction site covered in blood. Maybe they didn't think he jumped off a building, but he is covered in blood and he's just a random dude in their construction site. And they're all like, hey, dude, what's up with you?
He is
very
positioned. Blasé. Yeah, he's positioned as though he did jump as well. Right?
Like make fun of him.
Like find him. Yeah, they found him.
Weird.
He's on the ground. He's face down. He's all splayed out. And he's in a place where you couldn't have gotten to from below. So he did jump. Like that that part very literally happened.
And they just kind of roll their eyes at him. This guy.
So low to this guy. They imported us from Brooklyn to do construction in LA, and that's why we're all like this.
Yeah, we're gonna go fight the Green Goblin because if you take on LA, one guy, you take all LA.
So he springs up and he immediately is. I wrote, "Here's Nic Cage," because he drops the whole like blasé facade, and he's much higher energy and crazier.
Yes. We get exactly one shot of the true Cage. Because he's
running down the street.
He's so excited that he's a human now. He's like singing. He's like singing in the Rangers. I can't remember what song it is, but
he's singing that old black magic. That old
magic
called love.
Oh, yeah, wild pick. Definitely an improv from Nick. And then we cut to a different angle of him, and he's back to kind of being back to more where he has been for the whole movie. There's just exactly one shot of him just literally clicking his heels and singing out loud. And then, but anyway, back to the more serious Nic Cage.
He
hilarious.
He's like, I have to find Maggie. He has to find her, and he's like, it's almost as though it dawns on him that he doesn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
So he's like, I know she works at a hospital, but I actually don't know how to get there at all. So he literally just hears an ambulance and starts running after it. And he just follows a chain of ambulances getting closer to the hospital. He gets lucky enough that he winds up at the
correct hospital. Yeah. But like, this is such a good montage. This chunk of the movie here that we are talking about to say more about is like in my head cast of a buddy comedy with Franz. This is where this is the first act or the second act, like after the inciting incident. The inciting incident is that he falls or whatever. The first chunk of the movie is he's talking to Franz about the prospect of becoming a human. And then he does become a human and has to these antics that he goes through here is his him trying to track down Franz, trying to track down this girl that he's fallen in love with, Meg Ryan, who is not the center of the movie, but is like the love interest, but not the point of the movie. This all, this stuff. I think there's some heat to this because this was a fun little chunk of fish out of water.
Yeah, he tries to find out where she is from the hospital, and everyone's leery of a weird stranger, which is good.
Yeah. Continues to be someone who Meg Ryan inexplicably is into.
He goes to wait for the bus and then tries to get on the bus and realizes he has no money, so he can't get on the bus.
Well, Cody, why does he have to get on the bus?
Because he needs to go to Tahoe.
Because
she went to Tahoe.
She went to Tahoe.
Is she gonna get married to Jordan? Is she gonna do it?
Oh no! Stakes have never been higher.
Possible outcome. So he tries to get on a bus. The bus driver's like, I don't even think he talks to the bus driver. He just sees people putting money in and realizes
I'm embarrassed. I don't have money.
he walks back a
He gets
little bit.
bashful.
He sticks his thumb out like he's going to hitchhike, and someone honks at him. And he walks over with a big smile, and then four guys with
Is it
Razor
Dennis
Ramon.
Franz?
Nope. It's four gangsters with Razor Ramon haircuts jump out and beat the crap out of him and take his shoes because he obviously has no money or wallet.
It's the most zany the movie gets. It's the most like it's the biggest like gag of the movie. There's a couple beats in the beginning of the movie, once or twice throughout the movie that there is some comedy, some kind of levity, but this is the most just like straight up gag. Hey man, I can help you out, and he turns over and instead he gets mugged. Was hilarious.
It was a moment where I was like, I didn't see that coming. That's a weird insert for this point. So he's walking off again.
Totally
he's
bizarre.
Trying to get a ride. He gets picked up by a truck driver who lets him in, and we get our next weird, crazy needle drop in this movie.
Here you go. There's a little bit of moment as they're driving away. Andre Berger is sitting on a bus bench, and he was the one that guided the truck driver, the guardian angel for Nic Cage. Now, which is it was a sweet little moment. I like that. That was another fun, emotional moment that this movie lands. Is that Andre is there for him.
He winds up on this truck, and right as the truck is pulling away, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls starts playing.
Yes. Give up the world to see you. I love that the first line is "I'd give the world just to touch you," is I believe the line.
Yeah.
It's so good because
very thematically appropriate.
Very on the nose.
This is the music video that is much more like the City of Angels. Not in like, it doesn't feature scenes from the movie, but it's very like aesthetically
I did look it up.
Drawn towards it.
I do remember this was an early music video. This was an early music video. I just looked it up as we were talking after I looked up Sarah McLachlan just to see if I'm like, I don't think Goo Goo Dolls had this Iris intercut, because what I'm really waiting for is a music video that is like the Kiss by a Rose on a Grave music video from Batman and Robin
that has Batman in it.
It cuts between Seal in front of a bat signal and clips of the movie, and so no such existence.
Yeah, or you know, like the Armageddon Aerosmith.
Don't want to close my eyes.
Yeah, the single version that stops in the middle of the song and features a scene from the movie. I'm obsessed with those radio singles where they literally used to stop a song to play a scene from a movie on the radio, and then you would go back to the song. There's not very many like that. I think that's one of the only ones. Is the one that I remember. But there's a Jerry Maguire one too.
Amazing.
No Nic Cage one, as far as I
know. Yeah. Unfortunately, they missed out. I mean, he's still around. They still make music videos. There's still time. Mr. Cage, still time. But I will say as an aside, that music, like there's a couple, I feel like the Iris music video where he's up in the like tower with the telescopes and stuff is an early music video of my memory to date myself a little bit. It's an iconic, like that was an early, I now understand what music videos are music video.
Yeah, that was definitely a part of my childhood as well. So he rolls up. Yeah. He knocks on the door.
This music
goes in.
Keep on going.
The dog sees him first, which I wrote. Earl is a good dog.
He is a good dog.
Great dog for this movie.
Covered in ticks, but good dog.
At least one tick. And she opens the door, and he's like, she sees him and immediately is like, "Oh, you're real," because she sees that he's been beat up and bleeding, and he's so dead.
Yeah,
he's actually a part of the environment, and so she lets him in. They reconcile, and then they have what I described as a clinically unsexy sex scene
Oh, you didn't like it? It's like in front of I was into it. I like the fireplace and they're touching each other's bodies. It is like, I mean, what I do like about it is that it is like has words. It's like a scene where you're like, oh, how does this touch? How does this feel? Is a more interesting sex scene than we get from most, where it's like the like fade to black sex scenes that we get these days.
Yeah, it felt to me a little too that exact moment where she's like talking and like trying to get him. For some reason, something about Nic Cage was like not.
I mean,
that
you don't think of him as a sexy guy. You want to see him shirtless and consider Nic Cage sexually.
There are a lot of movies I have to watch in this lineup. As we were talking earlier before we recorded over text, there are 109 movies on my list and counting. That number will go up. I'm going to see a lot of Nic Cage sex scenes. He makes expressions when he's acting like he has sex so far in movies that I'm not into. It takes me out of it.
It's another thing. All right. Well, we're on the rating system. You got to track the rating scale of how horny you were for Nic Cage in this movie.
Hey, maybe that will increase.
Right now it's low.
No way of knowing.
Acknowledged.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. We'll see if other movies do something different for you.
So he.
But I do think it was a little bit cutesy to have to like call back, because he was like, how does that pair, like, what does it describe to me, how it tastes, describe to me sensations, because I'm an angel. And then this scene, she's the one that says, you describe how it tastes.
And it's all new for her. Yeah.
But she doesn't say, how does it taste? It's not quite so lewd.
That would have been a far more interesting moment. I mean, a little dynamic.
It's implied penetration. She definitely sinks down and is enjoying herself in a way that I made a note. I'm like, you know what? And then like movies these days so rarely have sex scenes that stay long enough on the actors to actually, get to penetration. Good on them. Good on this movie.
Maybe this is me being too used to modern movies that are kind of prudish and don't do
sexless.
Like a sex scene at all. Maybe that's on me, and I need to get more used to that. I'm obviously gonna have to with his oeuvre.
You're gonna have to.
We do get one of our only other comedy scenes in the whole movie right after this. He wakes up in the morning to take a shower, and he turns the water on too hot and does a loud Nic Cage scream, which is hysterical.
But this is I was alluding to this. This was when the one I clocked, which is there is a shot of him like pawing at the knob. Because oh, now I'm a human. I have to figure out this whole shower thing. And I'm like, my dude, you watch people in showers. We know this. We know about you, you perv. You know what handles look like. There's a weird like having your cake and eating it too, of like that. Like I understand the gesture is like, now that he's a human, he has to figure out human things. And for the most part that works, because he's like, oh, what does food taste like? Because I didn't eat food as an angel.
Yeah.
But like, you know how to open doors. Humans have opened doors and turned on knobs and stuff. So that
a shower knob is a door.
He turned on
a door that lets water into your shower.
That he turned the water too hot is like, oh, that I'm fine with. That plays. That was funny. And Nic Cage yell, that's fun. But I just that one shot of like water on. I'm like, all right. Yeah.
And then we get him gloriously stepping out of the shower all covered in a way
body steaming in the middle of the room in a way I don't understand.
It would have to be so damn cold, and I guess the shower was that hot based on his shout.
Just entirely in the middle of a room.
He's just examining. He gets very Vitruvian, right? He has his arms stretched out he's like looking at his muscles. And
he is
then
alive.
And then Meg Ryan goes out for pears because she's making
intercut.
Intercut for pears, and she's on her bike, experiencing, this elation. And
pears were the first thing she ate in front of him, so she wants to share pears with him.
And I wrote, Jesus, this movie, because she gets to a fatal bike accident.
In a way.
In a way that is
it's confusing.
A little dumb.
because it's intercut. He's soaking up the life, steaming in the middle of the room and holding his arms out
he's
for Vitruvian-esque. And so is
reveling
she.
in his mortality.
She's on her bike because she's a biker, as we recall, as we are regularly reminded. And so she's reveling in the sun on her face. She's living. He's living. She's living a little bit too hard. And a lumber truck, a logging truck, pulls out of nowhere. She goes, "Uh-oh." And then the candle blows out in Nic Cage's room, and he knows something's wrong and finds her.
Yeah.
In the least gory, in a way that I don't. So she ran her bike into the side of a truck. There's no blood. Her body seems to be completely intact.
She looks fine.
She looks absolutely fine. There are at the beginning of the movie, like the scene of the movie is her doing surgery. We see guts. We see like the guy she died. Yeah, the guy who dies on her slab in the like pivotal moment where she's trying to save him and Nic Cage sees her and she sees Nic Cage. She's massaging his heart, trying to keep it pumping. We see cuts of full ass hearts. And yet, at the end of the movie,
this is not an R-rated movie, and it's also like I'm not saying this movie would have been better if the scene would have been that she was like hereditary decapitated by the lumber. That's probably not an improvement.
Like a Final Destination, her body is on the other side of the truck from her head, but
like
he gets blood on his face when he falls off the building.
Yeah,
she doesn't even get blood on her face. She maybe gets like bruising around her eye.
They could at the very least have done the universal read in movies and TV for there's internal bleeding, which is a little bit of cough of blood out of the mouth. Give me that. Yeah. Where then I go, uh-oh, there's a problem I can't see, and that's why she's dying.
Yeah. Well, the other issue, the other like thing, the conflation is that the way it's shot is that it's not that she's biking and a truck doesn't see her and hits her. It's that we're led to believe the way it's framed is the truck pulls out, she goes, "Aye," and then we cut. And so she has run into the truck. So the truck is not slammed into her and broken all her bones and mangled her up. She has like just face planted into the side of some logs. And that's what kills her. Which is wild. She's wearing a helmet.
It feels
it's very forced.
It feels unlikely that would have ended her life, and it is heightened. That sense that would have ended her life is like also lessened by the fact that she just doesn't look that hurt in their big sad scene that they have together. He turns up the intensity a lot and is like very sad. And like we get their sort of tearful goodbye. She talks about how like it was, so worth it for one day.
And like, it was such a good vibe. I felt so good about that ending. I'm like, oh man, something's gonna happen. It's just I wrote that this fucking sucks. What an 11th hour extra drama.
It was very like it felt like a forced move, and
I wanted them to have a happy ending.
I will comment on that in the special features. I have something to tell you about this movie. So, but let's sort of sprint to the end here because the wrap up is pretty. He is extremely sad. We get another needle drop of
third needle drop of the month of the movie. Third needle drop of the last act of the movie.
Yeah, really, we like packed all these songs into the last 45 minutes.
I Grieve by Peter Gabriel, which is another on the nose pick. How fun. I don't even know that song, but the title is I Grieve. So like
I Grieve, yeah.
Get it? Because this is the montage of going to the funeral.
He's moving through like the motions of like, which again, this is the only like I sort of hand waved a lot of the problems you had with like the logic of the angel stuff, the supernatural stuff. For me, once he was alive is where I started having logistic problems because one, now there's just a person. And in the other version of this story where Meg Ryan's character is still alive, she can sort of like help like massage his existence into making sense of like, yeah, he doesn't have a social security card because of this. And like, yeah, he's a guy you've never heard of and doesn't have a birth certificate because of this. And he'll have like an ally in that. Now he's just
Yeah.
on
Well,
his
Dennis, I
own.
guess Dennis Franz can help him out.
Yeah, I guess he'll need somebody because otherwise he's like a non-entity, which
I
is
mean,
hard
Franz
to make
definitely
work.
hand waved it away because he was like, "Oh yeah, I wandered around when I was hungry as hell because I'd never had eaten before, and then I wandered around and couldn't get a job until I saw construction." Which
Yeah.
again, and yet another like clearly this seems to be maybe like an important pick to be like a construction worker in his life. I
Hmm.
don't know. It doesn't quite. I don't know. Maybe he builds stuff. I, eh.
Yeah.
But he just like got a job as a construction worker and is now 54 and with a wife and grandkids.
Yeah. So like that's sort of like maybe that's sort of the implication is that I don't know, we're talking about a movie now that is more than 25 years old. Maybe you could get away with more of that then
Yeah,
that it was a little easier.
much less
He,
vetting.
he does appear to have just kind of moved into her house, which
Yeah.
which I was like, that would be immediately suspicious to me as the one
Yeah.
her ex,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to her like the one other friend she had at the hospital, this other doctor. I would be
Yeah.
like there to collect her things, and there's a man who I've
Because
never seen
yeah, no one met.
who's like
Well, the
really
best friend met
sad.
him. Well, the best friends told him she was in Tahoe, and then days later, I looked this up, and apparently to get to Tahoe from LA is about an 8 hour drive. So he could have gotten there in a day, but like one day
Yeah.
later, she's fucking dead, and
Yeah.
yeah, the only guy that doesn't have an alibi.
At least there was a witness to the accident that killed her.
Yeah,
Like a truck driver
truck
knows what
driver at
happened and
least.
went to get help. But like it
Yeah,
is still like
it's not
crazy.
good. Yeah.
And like definitely if you were Jordan and you were like, "Oh, I'm here," and he's like, "No, I promise we're dating." It's like, "Do you have like a picture of you together?" And he'd be like, "Of me as a ball of light."
Yeah.
Does that work? Are you okay? I
Yeah.
stole the book Movable Feast for her from the library, and she thought it was yours. Remember that? That was me.
One other
Um,
person can verify. Dennis Franz can back me up, but I everyone else only knows me as his friend, so he's not
yeah,
that
I,
reliable of he's more of an
I
accomplice than a you know,
I have
character
one known
witness
associate who also doesn't have a social security
who
number.
will
Does that
emphatically
help?
defend me. Yeah.
So
Um,
it is, and then he evokes Andre Braugher. He's like, Cassiel, I know
yeah.
you're there, and he's all upset. He's like, am I being punished? And of course he's like,
I love this
no.
scene. This scene was so good. Andre Braugher is so
Andre Braugher is
good.
so good. He's
I
so
love
good.
that
And
guy.
he's
He's
just like,
such a talented actor.
he's like, you used to do this.
Yeah.
It
On
just
the
happened.
on the questionnaire, does this movie want to make me watch more Andre Braugher movies? That's a hard
Oh
7.
my gosh.
Hell, that's an 8.
I've joked about having side podcasts of this format.
Sure.
I have a feeling
Spin-offs.
a shorter spin-off of watching Andre Braugher movies. If it
Well,
means we have
a little bit more of a finite spin-off, yeah,
yeah.
than just this
Um
open-ended Cage podcast.
yeah. And so Andre Braugher is sort of like, he gives him the spiel of like, this is what mortality is. You bought in, and yeah, it's you thought about your own mortality and decided to give up on that. But everyone else's is a part of this equation too. And he takes him to the beach, and Nic Cage can't hear the music, but he can body surf. So he dives out into the water, and he experiences
Well,
the water and the beach that way. Um,
I love that. Well, because
which
it was
is
to me, it was that like I read it as not even that he went to the beach to like try to hear the music or something. I didn't even think of him as like being there with Andre. He like went there I thought it was such a cool move because like instead of bothering looking up at the sun, he just leapt into the water. He was there for the
yeah,
water, and I thought that was such a cool because the end of that Andre Brower scene at the end, the second to last scene is like, do you have any regrets? And he's basically like, not. No, I would have done this for just even one moment with Meg
mhm,
Ryan. So he's
yeah,
like, so he has no regrets. He loves life. He loves living life. No regrets. And so he's like, so it's the like rejection of even caring about the angel music, the looking up towards the sun, and instead looking out towards the water. And Andre Braugher smiles and approves of it, and that's a fun. And he just the last moments of the movie is him just like in the waves of life. And I was like, hell yeah. I think that's the movie really on the topic of like, you can assess a movie on like what is its opening image and what is its closing image, and that's because those are kind of the two things that kind of last in a lot of people's memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie has a really strong opening, to have that opening scene that really sets him up as like his whole deal as an angel really well, really kind of effortlessly, and then this last moment that is not too cloying, does not hit over your head. But it's clear. This idea of themes is like real clear. This idea of like, let's embrace the like waves of life, the churn of the water instead of the sun of the
a connection to one of the strongest symbols of life on Earth, water. Yeah, totally.
And I thought that was a really strong ending. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we hit credits. There's a little For Dawn is apparently that's for a producer who passed away while the movie was being sort of pitched around and made. She believed in the movie really big. Her name was Dawn Steele. Then we hit credits.
Ooh, cool name.
No post-credits scene, so no.
I do like your dedication to announcing whether or not it's a post-credits scene. Gotta check. These days.
So we, of course, I'm watching all of these on physical media. I am renting every single one of these from the Chicago Public Library. I have no misses yet. They've always had the DVD I wanted, so I'm very happy with that.
I did not even think to do that until I heard your podcast. I heard your Guardian Test podcast episode earlier today, and I'm like, damn it. Smart man. Because I rented it on Amazon. And that was my first. Well, my first bullet point.
Unless I have it, it'll be there.
Because my first bullet point was it was $4.18 to rent HD. And my question was it worth it? And I think coming back to that question live on air, I would say I think that was worth $4.18.
Yeah, less than probably a movie ticket in 1998 would have cost to go actually see it. So,
well, I mean, in 1998, tickets cost a nickel. So this is maybe $1,000 in 1998 money.
Right,
So I mean, in that context, I don't know if this is $1,000 movie, but.
But the upside of physical media, the upside of DVDs are a blast from the past special features. And I always check the special features to see what's interesting in those. And just a quick flyover. First, no Nic Cage commentary. We are 0 for, this is 7 on Nic Cage movies. He has not done a commentary track yet that I have found. Maybe someday. That would be the only thing that would motivate me to watch a movie with a commentary track would be him doing it, because I usually don't want to just watch a whole movie again right after I watched it for these episodes. It did have some cast bios. It had a lot of Nic Cage movie recommendations, which I obviously do not need. I know all of those. I'm going to get to them. No worries. But there was a fun fact.
Okay.
There was a slideshow called Angels in the Movies. There was just sort of like and this is a very, who, I don't know what my people who are listening to this now or in the future, how old you are. If this is a thing that you're like, what are you talking about? DVDs used to just have slideshows on them. You could put on a movie and one of the special features would just be pictures, and you could go through all the pictures, and they were like, that's good enough to put in a movie. So this had a little slideshow that was just like pictures and facts about other movies that had angels in them.
Just a thing that exists. Yeah, sure.
This movie, the first fact, this movie's a remake.
Okay.
Of a Wim Wenders movie, a German Wim Wenders movie called Wings of Desire.
Okay.
From the 80s.
Yeah. Okay.
I double featured this. I watched Wings of Desire right after I finished looking at the special features for this movie.
Oh, dip. Twist.
So, if all your questions about like they get too specific about angels but not specific enough, Wings of Desire takes it full artsy, and they're like, it's there. We just have to be okay with that. He does not fall in love with a prominent lecturer. He falls in love with a trapeze artist. He can't interact with her at all before he decides to become mortal. It shows all the scenes whenever there's an angel who's like the focus of like the scene. All those scenes are in black and white, and it cuts to color for whenever it's just humans and an angel isn't watching. It does it everyone talks in poetry because it's a very artsy 80s German movie.
It's German. Yes.
But it's also set in Berlin before the Berlin Wall comes down. So there's a lot about like observation as a positive versus negative force, and about like if an angel were to fall, they would stop just being an observer and have to live their life in this real existing city. It's crazy. It's absolutely if you want to see a movie that is a little bit asking you to buy in a little bit more to like attention paying, because it is a subtitle movie and it is more like figural and artsy. The band Nic Cage and the Bad Seeds are in it, and so is Peter Falk from Columbo, playing both himself and the Dennis Franz part. He's a angel who chose to fall. Absolutely insane.
That's wild. Is it? How is it? What did you think?
So good. I loved it. Okay. I thought it was awesome. In a way that this movie sort of scratches that itch of like, it fills that like rom drama and has some very successful like traditional storytelling moments. This is much more the art film style. You can tell that someone heavily Americanized with desire to turn it into City of Angels. Like they had to make it like a more traditional love story. They didn't want the two love interests to meet at the last moment like they do in Wings of Desire. I recommend it. I think watching both of these is a great way to learn about the difference between local and international film, because it's a huge they are not made that far apart. It's only like a
10 years.
Yeah, 10 or 15 years. Yeah.
Like 87 to 98 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So crazy. And like, it's so fun for me to learn that after the movie's over instead of before. So I also learned from this slideshow that the movie Angels in the Outfield is a remake. There's
okay.
So if you know the 90s movie Angels in the Outfield, which was on like movie TV every weekend when I was a little boy.
Classic.
That's based on a movie from the 50s.
That's hilarious.
About a team that isn't called the Angels.
That's so funny.
Just so so that was great. One of I looked through some of the other, there's a very long featurette about the making of the movie. The only really important thing about the featurette is you should watch it right up to the point where Nic Cage does his first talking head interview, where for a reason that is completely foreign, I have no idea why, he does an interview wearing a bright orange Tide laundry detergent baseball cap.
Sure.
Which is
why
this is another like featurette moment. I said Dog Eat Dog had another weird moment too, where he's like acting bizarre in a featurette for some reason. It's insane. And like it totally like stun locked me, where I was like, why is he wearing this? Where did he get this hat? What is this? Did Tide sponsor this? They don't have product placement in this movie. Just this weird hat. And then there's a very dry VFX featurette that I did not watch all of.
VFX, because the VFX in this movie was only okay. It's like of its time.
Below.
There's a couple
very nice and screeny looking.
Yeah, because it's Cage and Brower sitting on signs and talking. You know, their conversations mostly happen like on the sign over the highway, and then it's a big wide shot to see their figures on the signs, and it's like, oh, this is green screen.
It doesn't look like they're really there. So I was like,
No.
I'm not going to watch the whole VFX thing about them doing okay at VFX. And then there were some deleted scenes, which are mostly just more scenes where he's staring at Maggie. Just a lot more moments where he's kind of stalking her. So, yeah, I guess those are droppable.
Well, here's some research for you, counter research. This is to set the record straight for all of you listeners who are been screaming at us for the last hour and a half about the music. Is that the soundtrack of the movie did have the Iris, Goo Goo Dolls, and Alanis Morissette's "Uninvited," which that part I'm going to still let the listeners yell at me about because I don't actually know which song that is. I don't know Alanis Morissette's "Uninvited." Apparently, it was in this movie somewhere.
He's like, "Hi."
Yeah, you got to be more specific when it comes to Alanis Morissette. But and I'm here. But those two were singles on the soundtrack that they debuted on the soundtrack. So it was released to the radio in March. They were on. There was, what is this? There is the management firm for both Morissette and Goo Goo Dolls managed instrumental in making sure the soundtrack provided a nice setup for the forthcoming Morissette and Goo Goo Doll albums. So
that's so weird because I'm sure that Iris was also a single off of that actual record. Like I'm positive it was that they just did it again because
I think
how weird.
I think it was first. I mean, we're kind of the part of the episode where we go down a Wikipedia hole. It's a song written for the soundtrack of the '98 film City of Angels. It was Iris. Damn. Because I looked up Angel, the McLaughlin song, and that one is not for this.
The studio album that song is from, for folks, again, if you're listening to this in the future and you're younger than us, is from Dizzy Up the Girl, which is from 1998 also. It came out later that year.
Released and so Dizzy Up the Girl was from September of that same year.
Yeah. So it's a very strange memory I have where I was like, I swear I've seen a trailer for this movie that has Iris playing over it. And I was like, I'm positive I've seen it. There's a trailer on this DVD and it doesn't have Iris playing over it. It has the theme song from Dawson's Creek playing over it. I don't want to wait, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't want to wait.
And I was like,
no.
I was like, I was like, I'm positive that I remembered the thing I was thinking of was the trailer for the soundtrack for this movie, which played just as much as the trailer for the movie, I feel like.
Which is wild.
That had Iris playing over it all the time. And that's what I remembered seeing on TV when I was 7. So
I think I'm listening to the Alanis Morissette song. I think it was probably the trailer, or the credits. I think it was playing over the credits.
Yeah, I think so.
A Kiss by the Rose scenario, in which it was not actually in the movie, like I thought as a kid when I was 6 or 7 and saw the music video of Kiss by the Rose and saw it as a Batman song.
They're gonna play this song.
They're gonna play it in the movie, and they didn't. They just played it during the credits. Same thing with the Morissette song.
Yeah. But that's City of Angels. That's sort of where we landed on there. That is that was good. I gave it like right down the middle. So they're not like breaking out of the like 3 out of 5 star zone for these movies really yet.
Out of 5. Yeah. I think it's out of 5. I mean, if for no other reason than like everybody's doing so good. Like Franz and Brower and Meg Ryan's great. I think it's definitely not an A. I think it's like a B-. If it's a letter grade.
Okay.
Which is, I guess, a 3 out of 5. I don't know. We're mixing our rating
mixing metaphor a
systems.
little bit. That's fine.
Nothing
Nothing is official.
It's a watchable movie. I think there's some fun imagery in there. I enjoyed myself in this movie.
If you were doing the same thing as me, and you were like, I want to watch some Nic Cage movies, I want to drop half of them, I would still put this on your watch list.
Yeah,
like this would.
Did you just say that if you were to watch Nic Cage movies, but only half of Nic Cage, so only 50 movies,
right? If you were committing,
you would pick this is at least the top 50.
Yeah, that I think that's fair.
I guess
if you were committing to a slightly less crazy Nic Cage watch list than me,
yeah,
then I think this could make your list. This at least tells like a story of his era in the 90s. Like this is very much the road from leaving Las Vegas to the early 2000s, where it's like, what the hell is Nic Cage even doing now? This is part of that. You need to sort of get into the zone.
Fascinating. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page and I immediately clock career slump. What did they say? From 89 to 94. Funny. So this is outside the career slump. That's not in the career slump era. It's in the critical success and action star series. All right. That's
he wins an Oscar for leaving Las Vegas, I think in 1995. And then he's got Con Air and Face Off and The Rock and this movie, like all in consecutive years, I think. So this is like part of the big era of his success. And it is like, it's not an action movie where he shines a lot bigger in those. It is not an Oscar-worthy movie. It's just mostly fine. I like the side characters better in this movie, really, more than anyone.
It is telling that one of the first comments I made was, I was thinking about how much better Tom Hanks would be in this role. It is, that and doesn't not say something about it.
And also how much better the movie would be structured if there was more Dennis Franz in it. Like,
yeah, it's true. The two of my biggest comments about this movie and were ever present in my watching was, I'd love this buddy cop with Dennis Franz, or buddy film with Dennis comedy. And Tom Hanks, that's not a ringing endorsement, is it? Damn,
not exactly.
but it is funny because, this does happen amidst way more iconic Nic Franz. Who Nic Franz is my high school tech director. But Nic Franz is a combination of Dennis Franz and Nicolas Cage. The hairline on that person would be so confusing.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this movie does fall kind of right in between some of his, like Gone in 60 Seconds is the year 2000, which is to me, an iconic Cage movie, and also like an iconic 2000s Cage movie. And then the year before, as you said, it was like Con Air and Face Off and Rock, which is, yeah. So I guess linearly, if you're looking at that way, there are way better movies, or definitively better movies, or definitively like more Cagean movies before and after, plus or these couple of years. So it is kind of hard. It does get kind of buried between them, but it was not, as I said, but that said, in this era, there's not a lot of other romantic dramas. I mean, none of the rest of these.
Yeah.
This movie's in these 5 or 6 years are romantic dramas. The other one that comes out in 98 is Snake Eyes, as a detective investigating a political assassination at a boxing match. So that's not a romantic drama. So he does kind of do a little bit of a detour to to Meg Ryan's world. Gets roped into Meg Ryan's.
It's like he's dropping in another universe, kind of.
Yeah.
Because
meanwhile, Meg Ryan is. Meg Ryan is super busy in this moment. Where is she in this? Because she's.
You Got Mail
is the same year. She's in Anastasia. Mm-hmm. Oh, the year before. You do a big Ryan podcast and redo this movie, but also do.
So on my list is Andre Braugher. I talked in an earlier episode about the podcast, which already has a name, If There's a Willem, There's a Way, which is all Willem Dafoe movies. And now we need to come up with a Meg Ryan one. Okay.
Ryan Ryhard. Meg. The Meg. But parentheses, not the shark.
the Meg, parentheses, Ryan. parentheses podcast.
Yes, and parentheses. I think that's airtight. That's airtight.
That sounds good. But on that note, talking about other movies, it's been awesome having you. Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
It was so
Before
cool.
we get too far off.
I'm going to be doing this for a long time, and it would be great to have you back.
I would love to be back. Yeah.
A Nicolas Cage movie on your mind that you would want to come back for?
Oh, don't make me choose. I don't know who else you've talked. The one that like Raising Arizona is one that, like I said, I think I said at the beginning of this, is that like this movie did not make me want to watch, like the making me want to watch more Nic Cage of it all is wanting to check out the biggest ones, because a lot of those I haven't seen, like Raising Arizona and Moonstruck are two I've never seen but understand are so good, are unimpeachably good, those kind of things. Or I want to see
Moonstruck is like my most popular, because it's either people just like you said, where it's like it's a movie you just know is awesome because everyone talks about it, or people who already have seen it and absolutely love it. I've already talked about it. I might have to have more than one guest on for Moonstruck because I have a lot of people that want to do Moonstruck. But yeah, Raising Arizona would be a lot of fun. I would say I have talked with Kyle about doing Ghost Rider, but he asked specifically to not have to do the sequel.
So I'd be down to do the sequel, sure.
I was almost going to punish him for Drive Angry and make him do both Ghost Rider movies, but I can give him a break on the second one.
I would be honored to be a part of the second one, but I do feel like if he's doing the first one, he can't get away with not doing the second one.
He's got to complete the trilogy of Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and Drive Angry, which is just kind of Ghost Rider.
Well, I'm looking at one of the 3 movies that came out in 2024, The Surfer, where he plays surfer. Yeah.
That's supposed to be kind of good.
Ooh, the other one that's for 2023 was Renfield. Apparently is not that good of a movie, but I did just finish listening to the audiobook of Dracula. So I have insight on the source material.
Okay.
So another pick.
Well, I will
let me know.
I will see what's open of those. I will pencil you in and we will see what we can make work. It's been a lot of fun having you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we picked an okay movie, so I think that helped.
Hell yeah. Yes, that did make things easier.
But let me wrap up by asking if you have anything you want to plug, if you have your own personal creative projects or anything you want folks to look into, or just something you want to recommend outside of this that you think folks should check out.
Who I'm going to plug? The Cage Men podcast.
Thank you very much. Yes. Hopefully, if folks have gotten this far, they've already heard at least one episode.
Yes, at least 2.5 hours of this.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and yes, we're happy to have more folks join us. If you are listening and you're interested in,
smash that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, I got to do all that stuff. You can follow me and find me all over the internet. I am on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as Caged Men Pod. If you are looking for a way to sign up, I'm on all the streaming platforms. You can subscribe and you can leave comments and rate, and it helps a lot. Thank you for doing that. And it just means more people will be able to listen, which is, this is mostly just for fun so far. So we appreciate all the folks doing that. And then that will bring us to our close here. So thank you for listening. We will see you again in 2 weeks. And I will leave you with this little bon mot. Loving that old black magic.
Let me out of this cave.